Today is day 100 of my 100 days of gratitude. It also happens to be my 7-year cancerversary. I have almost spent the majority of my adult life as a cancer patient. I have been so reflective today of the last 100 days. I went through and attached a link to each day and just put a quick explanation of what that video was about. And it was amazing to go through today and kind of remind myself of, oh yeah, and I forgot I did that one, and that was one of my favorites. And I watched some of them and I smiled and even laughed out loud a few of them, and some of them I got emotional about. And what a brilliant project this has been. What a game changer. Today has been spent with Jorge a lot of the day. Like I said before, we were supposed to go to Niagara Falls and that didn't happen. Keith and I snuck away on Friday night while Jorge was still in the hospital when we knew everything was stable, just to kind of recognize this weekend. But we didn't obviously get to get away the way we were supposed to, and we were supposed to be at this beautiful spot in Niagara on the Lake right now and have a beautiful dinner, and that didn't happen. But like I said yesterday, sometimes you don't need those big events to happen to recognize something special, or to even make something mean more. It doesn't matter where we physically are. This day was going to happen regardless, and inside I was going to feel the exact same. And what's different about this year than every other year is that my focus wasn't on sadness and fear and devastation for the last 4 days leading up to it, which typically it is. March 1st is always a struggle for me, and then March 12th is better, and then as March goes on, it's like, okay, I made it through another year. March 11th has just been a struggle for the last 7 years. And so the first year that I went through it, I kind of didn't know what to expect, and then as years went on, I don't know, I just didn't really feel that much better. And this year I can go through and reflect and see all these amazing aspects of my life that I always knew were there, but I didn't necessarily put into words. And similarly to the way when I was writing so much, I was forced to kind of make sense of the way I was feeling. I've kind of done that with this project, and it's just really opened my eyes. And I'm nervous about this year, and my oncologist has validated that I have a right to be nervous. And it's just, I think this was very timely that this happened now. I think this is going to help me reflect on my life, but also prepare me for my death. And I'm sorry that's hard to hear, but I think that's the reality of this situation. I'm brought back to March 11th, 2011. And my mom texted me today and said, it was about this time that we were going in there and into the appointment. And I mean, obviously at 26, no family history, lump in your breast, told it's fibroadenoma. Why would I think it was cancer? I was promised it wasn't cancer weeks before my diagnosis, so I had no reason to think that it was. And Keith was working this crazy job where he absolutely, he had a violent flu, had to go in, he couldn't get out of work to save his life. So he said, I'm really sorry, I don't know what to do here. And I said, I really don't think it's anything. I said, I'm going to call my mom, see if she can come up for the day. And I mean, her coming up for the day was a 4-hour drive. Like that, it's not next door. And see if she can come up. So Mom said, yep, I can make that work. And I said, I'm really sorry. I'm sure this is nothing. But waking up that day, I knew. And she said that today. She said, we walked in there and I didn't think for a second that you had cancer. And she said, you somehow knew. And then the process got strange, and why are they calling me in to tell me I don't have cancer? That didn't add up. You typically go and see the nurse first. That didn't happen. I was taken right to the office, and, it just, I was both shocked and not surprised at the same time when I heard. And so we got home and, I don't know, we're just trying to distract ourselves, and we found out about the huge tsunami in Japan, and So my dad called. I think we talked 1,000 times. My mom was with me, and my dad was in Toronto, and so I don't know, we talked a lot that day, and I have regrets about the way I told him to, because I was kind of trying to explain things, and we were on the phone for like 2 minutes, and, you know, it was a cell phone, so there was like a slight delay, so then we started talking, not over each other intentionally, but like he'd go to talk and I'd go to talk kind of thing, and eventually I think I just yelled out, "I have cancer," and, you know, like, just that day is both a blur and so specific at the same time. So anyway, one of the times he called, he just said, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Like, how did we get here? And I remember saying to him, you know, this prognosis is pretty good. Like, it's aggressive and we have to be aggressive with treatment, but my prognosis is good. And I said, think of all those people in Japan right now who don't know where their family is, or, you know, kids who are missing, or people who have died already, and like, at least we're not in that situation. And it was very much, if you know the term pathetic fallacy in literature, it's where weather can reflect a character's kind of internal like feelings or emotions. And that was, a tsunami is a perfect way to describe that day. My mind was just flooded with fear and information and misinformation, and like I said, I found out from my family doctor, and no family doctor should have to tell somebody that they have cancer, and no patient should hear from their family doctor that they have cancer, because there was so much misinformation that day. There were so many questions left unanswered. I had to wait until my next appointment, so I didn't even know what to research. I didn't even know questions to ask. People are asking me questions. I don't know how to answer them. It was brutal, to be honest. I never wish that on anybody, to hear that from their family doctor, because they don't know. They're not an oncologist. And so you have questions, they rarely have answers. Like, it's just kind of this mishmash. And so we came home, and typical kind of, I don't know, laughing through the tears and crying through the laughs, and it was just crazy. And then the years following it, you know, I just always kind of hid on this day, and here we are 7 years later, where it's not looking great for 2018, and I'm more grateful than ever. And I really do feel like I've lived a full life, and I had full expectations to live 3 times as long, but that's not going to happen. But it's tough, because I haven't come to terms with it. I still struggle with it, but at the same time, I can't change it, and I'm doing everything that I can, and I'm just so lucky. I'm just so blessed. And so on this 100th day, I'm grateful for my husband, and I think a lot of you knew this was coming, because he is amazing. And the other night, when we were at our little getaway, we were sitting in front of the fire in this beautiful setting, and I said, you can't bring anybody else here. I'm so supportive of him finding love after me. I think it's essential, and I genuinely mean that from the bottom of my heart, and I'm glad that it's going on YouTube, because I want him to be happy. To be honest, I kind of want to look over his next relationship and just bless it, you know? I know that it's not a matter of falling out of love with me. It's just a matter of, God, he deserves an incredible woman. But just don't take her there. You guys can't let him take her there. He does more than... He does 5 times as much as a husband should. He does every little daily thing. I started keeping track of it and my phone got full. Like, everything from when we go grocery shopping, you go inside. When it's cold, you sit inside. He does the kitty litter. He does the garbage. He does anything physical. I'll get into bed and go, oh, and he'd say, what do you forget? I'll go and get it. Like, I'm talking every time. Every time. Then on top of that, he is my soundboard, which I know isn't fair. He listens to what I'm afraid of. And he rarely shares what he's afraid of. He got such a raw deal And as much as the cancer is in me physically, once I'm gone and kind of taken care of, he's got to deal with it. He's got to deal with every March 11th and every August 14th and every Christmas and every Valentine's Day. And although I wasn't the one who put the cancer in my body, I feel excessively guilty for what I've put him through. He has always treated this diagnosis as our diagnosis, not mine. He's there at every important doctor's appointment. He will let me wake him up in the middle of the night and rub my back or get medication or watch a Meryl Streep movie with me. That did happen in the last 30 days because of my anxiety. He takes care of me, sometimes at the cost of himself. He would have been an incredible father. He is an incredible father to Jorge. He is such an incredible man. And I do not deserve him. I don't know what I did in a previous life to deserve him now. He jokes with me. He entertains my crazy and wild ideas. He listens to every invention and every way that I want to help somebody else. And he supports me. He's my #1 fan. He entertains every wild idea that I have, every travel plan, every thing that costs money. He equally feels that he has to justify every personal purchase that he makes because I'm crazy about budgeting and price matching and money. A long time ago, I heard somebody say something about soulmates, and I've never liked that word. I just think it's cheesy. And when you think about people who've gotten divorced, how can one person be their soulmate, and then they get divorced, and then they get remarried, and that person's their soulmate? Like, I don't think that two people are, it would be pretty strange that soulmates are consistently born in the same area. You know, like, I'm not a big fan of soulmates. I think you either make a marriage work or you don't. And we put a lot into our marriage, but I also don't feel like it's that difficult. He might think very differently. And we work at it, but I mean, I don't schedule working into my calendar or anything. We're just good to each other. And I haven't been married 50 years or 40 years or 30 years or 20 years. But after 12 years, if I can give a little nugget of advice, I'd say you don't always have to agree. It's going to be impossible, but you always have to be on the same team. Always. And we are. He's my team captain. A long time ago, a whole group of us got together to raise some money for cancer, and one of my friends coined the name Team Katie, and that's kind of been ongoing for the last 7 years, and he's kind of the captain of Team Katie. He just always has. He always has my back, and he's the best. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him, and I wouldn't have the strength to get up in front of 800 people at the Royal York and talk about my experience with cancer. I wouldn't have had the strength to go to India. I wouldn't have had the strength to hop on a plane and go to Wisconsin for a spa getaway. I wouldn't have gone to Newfoundland in June to meet other cancer survivors and metastatic patients. I wouldn't be as open or as funny or as honest if it wasn't for that man. So on this 100th day of gratitude, I am so grateful for Keith. And this whole project has just been such an eye-opener and a game changer. And for all of you, I am grateful for so much of my life and past and future. I am just eternally grateful. Talk to you soon.